God blessed me by sending me to London and Paris in one trip. I had traveled to London for a week back in September through the 14th in 2022. And in that particular trip, I arrived the day the Queen died. So I saw London for 7 of their 10 days of mourning. This time I saw it in a whole different light. In 2022, I went alone by myself to join a friend from my church from Cleveland who was visiting there with her family. This time in 2026, I went with a group through Colette Tours. Our group stayed for 3 nights at the Strand Palace Hotel. This hotel was in walking distance of many different places, and we took advantage of that by going to the stores and all kinds of different places that we went to in that area. So I love the personalities of the staff and how helpful they were. The breakfast was included, and every morning they actually seated us in this 3-roomed eating area. So it was a buffet style breakfast. The cool part was you didn't have to deal with trying to figure out where am I going to sit as I'm carrying these trays of food. So you already knew where you were going to sit. And then in each room, we got 2 bottles of complimentary water, along with this big hunk of, they call it love cocoa, big hunk of chocolate. So we were eating so much in London that my roommate Cheryl and I, we didn't even get a chance to eat any of that chocolate. And we actually carried it with us to Paris. So we ate it later in Paris and actually had to force ourselves to do it then because we didn't want to carry it home on a plane. So we were eating so much good food in London and Paris that it took a while for us to eat that chocolate. Now those bottles are reusable, which was fabulous, so that those people that didn't bring a reusable bottle to carry their water in while we did our tours now had a bottle. And they were small. They fit in a lot of real easy stuff, a lot easier. So that was cool having that little souvenir from the hotel. Then we saw a lot in London. I took over 800 pictures between the 2 cities. Many of the sights we saw I had seen previously, such as Big Ben, the Horses Guards, Tower of London, Tower Bridge, Houses of Parliament, Westminster Abbey, and a whole lot more. So I'm not going to bore you with those pictures here. So we're supposed to go to the Buckingham Palace, which I saw last time too. The last time I went, I got to see the changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace and at the horse guards house. So I got to see it both times by happenstance because it wasn't like I knew the schedule. Just happened to be walking by and it was happening. This time, we saw the horse guards, and we just took pictures because they just did their stationary thing. Now, the Buckingham Palace was on the agenda, but because of the London Marathon, there were a lot of route restrictions, so we didn't get a chance to see it. But I did notice that a few people took some time out to go see it on their own. So I'm glad that those people did get a chance to see it because I wouldn't have needed to see that, so I saw that before. So, of course, we had fish and chips because, you know, how you going to go to London and not have some good fish and chips there? And then here, the picture I did show here is the what do you call it? The Royal Courts of Justice. I just love the way the structure of this building is, and that's why I picked it just to show it to you because a lot of the buildings are structurally made this way, especially anything that's churchy looking, but a lot of the buildings that have nothing to do with church look this way. So this is just a good example for you to see what a lot of the buildings in London look like. And then that pink building in front of it, the pink car in front of it is one of their taxis, and that was cool getting a chance to ride one of those. Generally they're black, but that one had a little pink on it, probably because they're advertising whatever they're advertising. So those taxis hold 5 people, so it was kind of fun. My roommate and I did that after we left the Moulin Rouge. We went to the Moulin Rouge musical, and afterwards we took a taxi home because we just didn't. It was nighttime and it was dark, and we didn't quite remember how we got there because we got there in a weird kind of way. So we said, okay, we're going to take this taxi home and not do this. So anyway, that Moulin Rouge, the reason why I even went to the theater at all, because many of you know that I am a red coat at the Cleveland Playhouse. And that particular day, it just so happens I was supposed to have been serving as a red coat for um, Sound of Music. And I was kind of bummed that I was missing it because I was going to be in London instead. So I just insisted I needed to be in a theater somewhere, and then I picked this particular musical because it was going to give us a little tease of the Can show we was going to see once we got to Paris. And then with my girlfriend, I have a church. I belong to an international church, and a member from the church that I've been friends with for a minute, Ellen, she came and spent some time with me and my roommate. And before the musical, we stopped in an establishment that served liquor and served all kind of food too, because it was a restaurant beverage kind of place. And we just decided we wanted tea, and she got another liquid refreshment. I think it's an adult one because that picture is right there, but I can't remember exactly what it was she got. So we got the tea, and Cheryl and I both looked at each other and we were like, hold up, this is not the tea that we're used to. It's like, wow, we had to actually strain the tea leaves. So she actually taught us how to do that, and that was really cool because then we got to have a proper tea and an experience, and that was really delicious actually drinking the tea that way because I've never had to strain the tea leaves out of the brew because I'm always using a tea bag. So it was kind of fun. And the cool part about that, since we learned that skill, we were able to use that skill later in the week when we had a high tea with the group. So that lawn area up there, the garden that you see there, is actually on Kensington Palace. And that's actually where our group had the high tea. And that high tea was fabulous because we actually had it in a building of theirs that used to be the greenhouse, but now they changed it into an eating establishment on the property. And we had our high tea, which meant straining the teas leaves off out of the water, and then also having the finger sandwiches and the pastries. That was so good. It was a really light lunch, but it was actually quite filling. So that was kind of fun doing that little high tea, and then being able to teach others how to do it because some of the people at our table had no clue either. But since we had the lesson the day before, we were all there. So then the picture with the crosses on it is just the walls around the Tower of London. And I just took this picture because I just love the way the crosses looked in there, even though the walls are surrounding another building in the middle. So it was just cool taking that picture because I had not noticed that the last time I was there. I even walked by there, walked on all the bridges because there's the Tower Bridge right next to it, walked across the London Bridge. Never paid attention to this, probably because it was just so much to see then, like it still was so much to see now. So that's just an example of I just love the architecture of this particular wall that's surrounding the Tower of London. And then that bottom one is me in the London Eye. The last time I was in London, I just walked by the London Eye, wanted to go in it, but then I saw the price. The price was a little more than the budget I had at that time. And the lines were so long, so even if I could afford it, I was like, I'm not trying to stand in that line for that length of time. So I didn't. So this time, with a group of 40 of us, we got a chance to get into this. We filled up 2 cars, they called them capsules, that holds 25 people. All 40 of us didn't go because there were a few people that had height issues, so they were like, not even trying to come. And then some of the ones that did come, once they got there, will start thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know, it looks kind of high, maybe I shouldn't do this, but they went anyway. And they didn't have any problems because it was a 30-minute rotation, but it went so slow, you actually barely felt yourself moving. You only noticed that you were going up and down by the viewpoint of seeing the things out there that we were looking at getting closer or further away from us just because we were moving. But it was moving so slow, you didn't have that height issue, and you didn't have any kind of motion sickness at all because it was going so slow, and it took 30 minutes for the rotation. So it actually ended all too soon. It was like, man, it's over already? But it was fun. Then this is my favorite part of the trip. Everybody gonna think I'm crazy because we went to London and Paris. My favorite part was getting on the Eurostar. Everyone knows I have a train and a bridge obsession. And if I happen to have both together, oh my gosh, a train going over a bridge or a bridge going over a train, oh my goodness, it's just So to ride a train and a fast train was the best for me. It was a 2 hour ride from London to Paris. And most of the people, and it was so smooth, you barely could tell you were moving, you were going almost 100 miles an hour. It was like, oh my goodness, it was so cool, so smooth, so fast. And then most of the 40 people slept during that because it was so smooth, it was kind of knocking you out. And me, however, I'm eyeing all the countryside as it changes, the France countryside as it's changing on me. So I'm watching every little detail as it's going by. And then I even walked through several cars just because I wanted to see what the other cars look like. And then I wanted to see what their cafe area looked like. And then I had to use the bathroom. So that gave me a chance to check out how their bathroom was. So that was really fun, just roaming through the car. And then I also ran through the station before we got on the train just so I could see what their station looks like. So that was a lot of fun. I'm just hoping God will give me another opportunity to go to some other European countries so I can check out some other Eurostar trains going to some other place. So we finally made it in Paris. And this first picture is our hotel, which is the bigger picture. It's on the left of the screen under the print that's here. That's our hotel, the one with the 3 windows at the top. So that's our hotel. That was the Crown Plaza Paris Republic. And it's right on the Plaza the Public also, which is a huge plaza. I always said it's rectangular, but I'm looking at it now. It's not really. It's really oval, giant oval with a big statue in the middle. And they're surrounded with all kind of different restaurants, eating places. So it's a really good location just to have a variety of different foods. Because we even took advantage of going to one of the restaurants that was a French restaurant on one of the later days. So that was really fun. Now, one thing I liked about this location is their buffet was the bomb as far as I was concerned because they had a huge variety of foods. I mean, there was so much, so much, so much. I mean, and then they had the made-to-order omelet egg station that just took it over the top. So there was not a day that I had the same type of breakfast. Every day I had a different breakfast from that buffet. So the top right picture with the Cafe de Temple, that was just a sample of what some of the buildings are like in France. It's just so picturesque. And then the streets there in Paris, they're look almost the same. It's almost like you could throw yourself on any street and like, okay, where am I at? Because all the streets have those balconies on them and the 2 or 3 floors up. They're even all the way down, building after building. They touch each other, building after building, and they mesh. So it's kind of cool watching that. This one had a little extra flavor and flair of color in it, so that just made it stand out more so than some of the other buildings that look the same with that color all the way down the road. And then the bottom picture is just a picture of the majority of the 40 of us at the bottom of the Eiffel Tower on our last full day in France. So in Paris, we went to, what is this called? This is King Louis XIV Versailles Palace. So this is the garden part of it. We spent the palace itself was about an hour away from our hotel, so that's like a 2-hour round trip journey by bus. And then in the palace, we were in that palace walking around for a good 2 hours with a guide showing us going from room to room. The mirror, the what do you call it? The room of mirrors, the hall of mirrors was fabulous because there's just tons of mirrors there on one side of the hall, and the other side was windows, so it kind of reflected that whatever was outside, inside was just kind of cool. Anyway, so we spent a lot of time in that building. That building has over 2,300 rooms, and the gardens have 2,000 acres. So by the time we came out of there, the palace is free, the garden is not, but it was included in our tour. So I'm thinking if God ever gives me an opportunity to go back, I'm going to go straight to the gardens and just spend the whole day going in that garden with the 2,000 acres. Because we just got a chance to only see this view right here, looking at the start of the gardens. I mean, I got close shots. I made some telephoto shots of some of that stuff in there, but I wasn't any closer than this picture here doing that. So one day I'm hoping God will enable me to come back and actually explore the gardens. And then the building was fabulous. It's just great, the artwork, the furniture, all that kind of stuff. Yay. But I was wishing we could have actually been able to go through that at my own pace, and then we would have had more time to do the gardens, but not so. So that's where that's all about. And then the other building we got to see was the Notre Dame Cathedral. So the bottom is the outside, the inside is just a splash of what I saw inside. So I took a ton of pictures of inside. That was fabulous. And then you could even see on the bottom picture maybe one of the cranes there, because they're still working on repairing, building, restoring, whatever, the part that was burned in the big fire, because the whole tower came down, the whole spire came down. So there's a brand new spire there. It's not in this picture, it's in some other pictures I took from the river, but the building is still being refurbished, but it's open to be seen. So we were in there probably a good half an hour roaming through there, because that's a lot. It's beautiful. The architecture is fabulous. It's just amazing. Then the Seine River. Oh my goodness, let's talk about that, because we did we walked around it, we walked on it. We walked on water, right? We walked across it on a bridge. We took a boat ride, cruise on the Seine. So we were all over and around that Seine River, no matter where we went. And on the last full day, the cruise on the Seine started and ended at the Eiffel Tower. So that was kind of cool. So then, I got a lot of pictures of the Eiffel Tower in all kind of angles, from the river, from the ground, and from inside the Eiffel Tower too. We'll get to that picture in a minute, a few pictures about that. But so that was just nice, and we had such wonderful weather. We're just talking about weather. When we were in London, let me just backtrack a second. London is always known for being rainy, and it was rainy the first time I went. This time, for both London and Paris, we had sunlight, blue sky every single day. That was really not normal for London to have that many days of no rain. It was good. God just hooked us up for that. So another place we saw was the Arc de Triomphe. So I got a chance to get out and take pictures of that. I was wishing I had more time to go into the tunnel, because I walked up to the tunnel just to take the picture of the tunnel, because I knew I couldn't go over. There's a tunnel that goes under the roundabout and takes you to the other side of the Arc of Triomphe. And you can be under the Arc de Triomphe and take a picture. So if I ever get a chance to do that, I might do that, just to go up under and see it from the ground up. Then the top picture on the right is actually that Versailles again. That picture does not give it justice of the huge 2,300 room palace, because it's lots of gold on the fencing, there's lots of gold on the roofing. It's just an amazing piece of art. And then the other one I just threw down there on the bottom is just a mini display of how they display their fruits and vegetables and their meats. I don't know how the meat's in there, but this is all a fruit place right here. And I have never seen so many shiny apples and fruits in my life. But that's what the French do. They eat fresh, and then they display whatever it is they're selling, so the eye could just grab you and want you to make your purchases, because they don't do preservatives, they don't do a lot of leftovers. They're fresh bread, fresh fruit, fresh meat, fresh everything. There are some fast food. We did see McDonald's, we did see KFC, and I think I saw Burger King, but I bet those things are really there for Americans and other people that don't live like the French do. Because I didn't see I don't remember seeing any heavyweight person there. If they were heavyweight, they were probably from the United States. I hate to say that, but I'm just saying. Anyway, so the crowning glory, the reason why I was there was just to see the Eiffel Tower. Man, God hooked me up on going, for one thing, because when I with the first time, I had always said that if I ever get a chance to go to London, I want to take the Eurostar over to Paris just for a day tour to take pictures of all the iconic spots that I was in front of, blah, 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 and come right back on the train to London. So when I was there in 22, and me and my girlfriend we were trying to do a tour with one of the tour operators, and the Holy Spirit said, no, no, no. It was real heavy. It was real heavy on me, saying, no, don't do this. You're going to stay in London, enjoy London, but do Stonehenge and Bath as an added piece. Don't go to Paris. And that's what we did. We did take a tour to Stonehenge and Bath in one day instead of the train over to Paris, because the Holy Spirit said, nope, I got a better plan for you for Paris. And that better plan was this trip. So that way I got 4 nights in Paris and the Eurostar and London again for 3 nights. So that was awesome. I just love it when God has a better plan than my plan. But he also puts these bucket list trips on my bucket list. And then whatever he puts on my list, I've gone. I've been to those places. And there's still things on my bucket list. So I can't wait to see when he gets attached to take me. So with this Europe, Eiffel Tower, I'm just going to be satisfied with just taking an outside picture. Here I got to take the outside picture, got to see it from the river, got to see it from the ground, got to see it inside because we had our dinner inside the Eiffel Tower. And then I got to see the Eiffel Tower at night. So like, wow, what more can I ask for? Anytime there's something I want or wish in my desire heart, God gives me more than I asked for. So that's just fabulous. And then he gave our group this fabulous tour manager, Luis Morales, the guy that's sitting there. Well, he's the only guy at the table. The only guy at the table, at our table. He was fabulous. He was in both countries with us. He goes to various different countries. He's actually from Spain. So he came to these 2 countries to take us around, and he met our every need. He was so attentive. He gave us so much information about stuff we could go see and do extra because, they give you free time. So he gave us ideas on what we could do during that free time. So he was always there helping us, making reservations for us if we needed something, all that kind of stuff. He was just there. He was so caring, so kind. And our travel agent is planning a trip next year to Portugal and Spain, and she is asking for him to be that guy. That would be so cool if that happens, because, his schedule is one thing, but can he do it or not is another. Because he's from Spain, so what better person to even have as a tour manager but to have him. So the tour manager actually, he didn't do all the tours. I mean, Mike, he wasn't the tour guide because we also had step on and step off other local tour people that told us about whatever we were doing in these 2 cities. But he's the manager of overall and making sure everybody does what they got to do. We got different bus drivers every day sometimes. So he's the one that managed all that. And then he also sometimes did a lot of touring because he would give us tons and tons of information about the area because he's the overall guy. And then he would use other people to add their actual local flavor in there, because he's not from France and he's not from London. So, let's get somebody that's even more local than him. So it was fabulous. So I am looking so forward to what God's plan is for me for my next adventure. And I hope you get a chance to go to London and Paris one of these days.